students, good afternoon, or good evening. Whatever time you decide to do your learning, I'm here for you. Today, we're going to talk about the sonnet. The sonnet was originally popularized by a poet called Petrarch. The Petrarchian sonnet is written in Italian. In the English language, however, the king of sonnets is definitely William Shakespeare. The Shakespearean sonnet is what we're going to focus on today. We will talk about the form of the sonnet, how to write one, and then we will also analyze the sonnet together. Let's get into the lesson.
All right, so let's talk about the sonnet. So a sonnet is, the word sonnet derives from the Italian word sonetto, which means a little song or a small lyric. So the sonnet form relies heavily on the way that it sounds or the meter that it has. A sonnet has 14 lines and is written in iambic pentameter. So this is 10 syllables with stressed and unstressed feet. If that sounds a little bit confusing to you, don't worry, we'll talk more about that later. A sonnet is written in a particular rhyme scheme. In English, it has 3 quatrains and a rhyming couplet. And then finally, it is categorized into 6 types: the Italian or Petrarchian sonnet, the English or Shakespearean sonnet, the Spenserian sonnet, the Miltonic sonnet, the terza rima sonnet, and the curtal sonnet. Most of these are named for the poet who popularized them. The sonnet that we're going to focus on today is the English or Shakespearean sonnet. So let's take a closer look at a Shakespearean sonnet. William Shakespeare published 154 sonnets. He probably wrote way more than that. Today we're going to look specifically at William Shakespeare's Sonnet 98. Let's read it before we jump in. From you have I been absent in the spring, when proud pied April, dressed in all his trim, hath put a spirit of youth in everything, that heavy Saturn laughed and leaped with him. Yet nor the lays of birds, nor the sweet smell of different flowers in odor and in hue, could make me any summer's story tell, or from their proud lap pluck them where they grew. Nor did I wonder at the lilies white, nor praise the deep vermilion in the rose. They were but sweet, but figures of delight, drawn after you, you pattern of all those. Yet seemed it winter still, and you away, as with your shadow I with these did play. Let's take a closer look at some of the components of this Shakespearean sonnet. So first, just like all sonnets, it has 14 lines of poetry. In those 14 lines, it has 3 quatrains. A quatrain is a stanza of 4 lines that has an alternating, or ABAB, rhyme scheme. Second, it ends with a rhyming couplet. So this is a pair of lines that have the same rhyme scheme. Almost all Shakespearean sonnets end this way. Third, it has a overall particular rhyme scheme. So that is AB, AB. Don't mind the extra A there. We'll get rid of that. It's not there. And then CD, CD, EF, EF, GG. If you notice over here, I also labeled the rhyme scheme. So each quatrain alternates the rhyme, and then the final 2 lines, the rhyme and couplet, rhyme together, so they're no longer alternating. It is written in iambic pentameter. So that might sound really confusing, but we'll break it down a little bit. So an iamb is a metrical foot. If you remember from the poetry lesson, we measure meter in poetry in feet, not beats. That has a stressed syllable followed by an unstressed one. So if we look here, these 2 syllables together, that would be 1 foot. So from you have I been absent in the spring. So that has 5 feet, which is why it's called pentameter. So there were iambic pentameter means it's written in iambs, and there are 5 iambs per line, which means that there are 10 syllables total. Every line in the poem sounds like this. Now, this might seem really difficult, but it's actually not that hard. If you've written a haiku or a limerick and followed a specific rhyming pattern, you can write a sonnet. So notice here, I added a few more of the stress-unstressed syllables. So, from you have I been absent in the spring, when proud-pied April dressed in all his trim. So there's another example of what the meter looks like. So as you're writing a sonnet, try to think about how you can follow that line. Remember, if we go back to the Italian word sonetto, it's supposed to sound a little bit song-like. So thematically, the sonnets focus on the nature of love, real versus cliched beauty, the responsibilities of being beautiful, the importance of youth, and alternatively, how youth can stop the quote-unquote march towards death, and then the life cycle in general. This particular sonnet is about love and love in spring. If you notice at the beginning, the person says, like, from you have I been absent in the spring. So Shakespeare is addressing a person, and they are clearly not with them in the spring, and that is affecting how they interpret everything else about the springtime. Like, nothing is like it should be. And that's why the final lines say, yet seemed it winter still, and you away, as with your shadow I with these did play. So even though it's springtime and everything is beautiful, because their love is not with them, it seems like it's still in the deep darkness of winter. So here I have a few more things annotated. So the purple is annotating personification. So if we look at line 2, when proud-pied April dressed in all his trim, so there, the poet is addressing April as a person. So that would be an example of personification. If we keep going to line 4, that heavy Saturn laughed and leaped with him, Saturn is referring to a god. So Saturn is one of the Roman gods, and it was known as kind of a somber, serious god. And so they're saying that this person, their love, could make even the somber god of Saturn laugh and leap. If we keep going now, like, yet nor the lays of birds nor the sweet smell of different flowers in odor and in hue. We have some beautiful imagery there. And then we keep going, could make me any summer's story tell. So here's another little bit of personification. So if Summer has a story, he's giving Summer a person's trait. Or from their proud lap pluck them where they grew. Nor did I wonder at the lily's white, nor praise the deep vermilion in the rose. So those two green lines are noting some really beautiful imagery. So we have that white lily juxtaposed with the deep vermilion, and vermilion is a description of a deep red of the rose. So he's saying that when his love was with him, he didn't wonder at those things because he understood beauty. And then we're going to add a few more things. So if you remember the devices of sound lessons, we have some great devices of sound going on in this sonnet, which add to the lyrical qualities of it. So in line 2, proud pied, there's a great example of alliteration. In line 4, laughed and leaped, we have alliteration with the L repeated, but then we also have some consonants with the D ending it, so it gives it a very rhythmic feel. In line 8, I noted that there's another great example of consonants. So, or from their proud lap pluck them where they grew. I think it's a great example of a sonnet. Like I said, Shakespeare has 154. So if this sonnet is interesting to you, check out another one. There are a lot of great readings online as well. So, to review, a Shakespearean sonnet has 14 lines and is written in iambic pentameter, which means it has 10 syllables with stressed/unstressed feet. It has 3 quatrains, which is a stanza of 4 lines that rhyme alternatively, and a rhyming couplet. It has the rhyme scheme A B A B, C D C D, E F E F, G G, and often has themes of life, love, and nature. Are you ready to try your hand at sonnet writing?